Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the high-level Highlander circle jerk, which is Classy Cast. I will be one of your hosts this evening, Mr. Ruskeydoo, and with me we have this man.
Can you stop doing that intro where you say this man? Because nobody knows who goes when you do
We're doing
that.
it alphabetical. We just need to
Okay,
get
sure.
into the program, it's fine.
Hi, I'm Bubble.
Hi, I'm Bulow.
Wait, faNNy's allowed to speak now?
You guys fucking
Who
suck
gave you
at this,
permission to
seriously.
speak?
You're meant to, you're not just say hello. If you're just going to say your name, I could do that. That's,
Go ahead
it's
then.
be like, hello. No, you're meant to have your little, piece. Your little kind of like, hey, I'm Bubble.
Give a fuck.
And this week, I've been eating lots of lemons and keeping them in my trousers. Bam.
Okay, that makes
some-
Okay, let me try this.
Okay.
Hey guys, I'm Hildreth, and I managed to just about wake up in time for this. See, is
That's
that
good. Yeah,
Is that-
that's, it's got a little
Encouraging?
bit of. You want a little bit of personality in there,
personality,
something
exactly.
personal, something like a little tidbit of information that teases for more.
That's
what you're looking
brilliant. Do you think I'll get a girlfriend now?
at. No, we're doing a cast about a computer game. This isn't wrong territory.
It's Friday
wrong
night.
territory.
I'm sorry.
That's the
This is
point.
not the answer.
It's Friday night and we're not out having fun or down the pub. We're talking about Highlander. Just saying.
We could have done it down the pub. Or in a pub.
In a pub! Oh, it's such a good idea. Anyway, let's move on. Let's move on before this gets too blue.
It gets too sad and lonely. I wish I'd spent all the hours I do think that sometimes. Do you ever look at your TF2 hours and think, man, if I'd worked at McDonald's for minimum wage, I'd actually have £20,000?
I could have learned like 3 languages in the time I've spent playing
Every
TF2.
single day. Every day.
If I worked at McDonald's for minimum wage of my TF2 hours, I would have like 40 grand.
40 grand.
And you'd probably want to
good.
kill yourself.
Well, no,
In
you would
fairness,
burn
I'd
your
probably want
hands
to
to
kill himself
nothing in
based on
chips
his
fat and
TF2
shit.
experience as well, so whatever.
Yeah. So anyway, before we get more maudlin and start asking questions about our life decisions, what is on the menu for this week's Classy Cast?
I heard that now all of us will be playing TF2L Prem next season.
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah.
what we
no,
should do is-
there is
what we
that,
should do
there
is-
that.
Okay, so currently it's 22:58. It's gone. You have 25 seconds to speak about being Prem now. Rusky, go ahead.
Okay. We are the champions, my friends, dun, dun, and we'll keep on fighting to the end. Ba 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 ba. We are the champions. We are the champions. No time for losers, 'cause we are the champions.
See, that's all- that's all, Rusky.
Wait, the
So
gag,
it's
the
over.
gag of Div 1. Okay,
No, you
done.
didn't.
Nice.
There we go.
It's a
Thank
good
you,
save,
thank you.
good save.
Okay, carry on.
So I think what we can ascertain from that is that Chess Club 1 Div 1, and somehow Rusky's friends with them now? Like, what the
They-
fuck? We're your friends, Rusky.
I'm a member of Chess Club, you see, so, we are
You know, in the
champions.
club, you have to pretend. Okay,
Yeah.
that's okay.
Yeah.
It's okay.
Okay, good.
You know who
Good
your real
about
friends are.
that. Yeah, totally. Well, I'm your friends too. It's not like I, can't be friends with you and them, right?
I'm sorry, you can't.
What? Why? What's,
I won't allow it.
Okay. Well, if the choice is you guys or being Prem, well. But yeah, no, feels good. It strokes my ego nicely. I get to be like a Prem heavy now. Bam! Seriously, and when my wife
Welcome
found
to
out
the
she streamed...
same league as Zebasai.
Yeah.
Yeah, thanks.
Well, that's to
I
say,
feel so special
congratulations
now.
to Chess Club, because Div 1 was quite tight. There were a lot of, there were 2 or 3 teams that could have won it, and it's well done to them for winning it outright.
Or we could say welcome to the same league as the heavy for Legolas.
Who is that?
I don't know.
We don't even know.
Is it
There
Mighty
is-
Me? Or is it... No, it's not Mighty Me, is it? It's, I don't know, whatever.
Well, but there is another club that a couple of us were members of, and another person has joined just today, and that is the Community Sparkle Club. Welcome, Bubble.
Self-made
Oh,
item.
Who's joined the Sparkle Club?
Bubble has.
Really?
Well,
Yes,
Bob, hi. Why?
A self-made
What?
item.
It's
It's not quite
from
the same.
so Bubble did a load of helping out with the charity mix-up match, and we sorted it so that everyone who got the Heart of Gold, which is that little plate thing with the glowy heart on it, everyone who was helping out integrally with Mix-Up got one of those self-made.
Nice. Congratulations.
Whammy. You get to walk around in servers now and have people go, oh, yeah, and then walk away because they're not interested.
Yep.
Yeah, it gives you about 5 seconds of attention.
It's the best kind of attention.
Pretty much. You get to see it, like when you taunt. That makes me a little bit happy.
That's true.
Yeah.
I get to see. I like it when they do casts and they see my sparkly gun. No,
As you
Depended.
said, you can taunt. I taunted in this pub I'm playing on, and this guy just stopped next to me, called Gaming Monster, spelled with an E, like like gaming monster. And yeah, then he asked me about it. So yeah,
this could be
Well, it's
a
probably
great.
guys famous. Are you the BubbleBobbler from
I am.
whatever it is that you do?
This could be a great promotional opportunity. If you put like advertise classy cast in your name, people want to know. Say, who's this guy with the community
Yeah, they'd
weapon?
associate it with Classicast. That'd be great.
You could rename the item the Classy Cast Heart. Bam.
I think he has more sense
I don't
than that.
advise it.
nah.
Nah. But yeah, should we actually talk about Highlander?
Yeah, we could.
It'd be a good thing.
Go. Okay, let's start going through shit.
Okay, well,
Should
basically,
we do
the
matches
way
or should we do
this-
drama?
the drama will arise from the results, I think.
That's true.
I think it's the best way, because basically, when did we did the last one a few weeks ago? Was it before Christmas
Yeah.
or no? It was only
It
last
was
week, wasn't
after
it?
Christmas, yeah.
Yeah, we just went over and we pointed out that there was still a shitload of games to go down, and so it has turned out. So the first game that we had was It's All Good versus Highlander. There was some early drama.
Jesus Christ.
Early drama in that game. I said I think they were warming up against Chess Club because Solid
Yeah.
was playing. Solid was playing Scout. Them. I said to Solid before the game because Solid is on our roster. I said to Solid, shit all over their spirit, destroy them. And he came back to me half an hour later and said, Hildreth's not there. They don't have any spirit. It's crushed. You can go for the jugular.
We actually mercilessly crushed them without Hildreth there. It was a little painful. Just a little.
And it came to match hour, and Steve messaged me and he said, Hildreth's not here. And I was like, alright. He said, we need him work. I was like, alright, this is getting good. And he put faNNy, fair play. And then we got on the server and Hildreth still hadn't appeared.
Just for a bit of background, I'd been like talking to Ritalin and Steve on the Steam chat, and as it got nearer to match time, they were just like, no. They were getting more stressed. They were like, you could tell they were actually very unhappy.
To be fair, Ritalin and Steve are the biggest stress heads I know, seriously.
Oh yeah, like Steve misspelled about 30 words in like a 15-word message to me. So he was on edge. We were obviously we were loving it. We're like, no Hill Dog, this is our chance.
Let's take
Yeah.
it.
Hildreth, like, we'll go into it like in the game, which was casted, of course. We came out on top, 3-1, relatively comfortable.
On the lake
On the
side,
first map.
On Lake side, yeah, on the reverse map. And then, just as we were kind of finishing, Hildreth joined the server, and you saw his name popping up. It's like, what's this? We beat them. Have we angered him? Has he come to show his children how it's done?
So what basically happened was I stayed up quite late the night before, and then I went to work. And come like evening time, I was quite tired, and I thought, I'm gonna have a little nap before I play some TF2. But it's all good. So when we come to play later, I don't think it's worth me turning up because they're not really worth my time. But as it turned out, my massive Highlander sense tingled and we lost the first map, so I had to come online. Either
So
that or I
minutes you were
forgot to set my alarm.
Yeah. Sounds alright.
I'm surprised the rest of your team hasn't sacked you.
Well, they don't really have a choice,
Because, and let's face
I'm like
it,
a dictator, this team.
Yeah. If we can talk about Gollywash, we could probably talk about it for longer than the actual map was played for.
We've already talked about it for longer than the map.
Yeah. it ended 5-0 to Highlander. I don't think we capped a single point in the entire game. I think that we capped second once, as in our second. We recapped second once in 12 minutes of brutal domination.
Okay, here's what I found really interesting about it. It was, if you look at the logs, Hildreth was like way down the damage and stuff. He wasn't actually doing that much. But just him being there, I assume it's through calls, it just transformed Highlander from a mildly competent team into a team that's actually pretty good.
No, it's just that Ritalin and Steve don't want to upset their father.
Yeah, they concentrate once he's there.
Well, their daddy anyway.
There's a thing about my team you must know. Have you ever seen how Team Finland play in the Nations Cup?
Yes.
Like, you got to look at that team's combo and think, like, it's like, I can't remember who their heavy was, but their medic is Muffins and their pyro is Jonas, or...
The heavy was Karatis, I think.
Karatis, and then their Devo is Nappa. And you got to think, competent players, sure. Individually, none of them are really coolers. None of them are really like high-level coolers. Their coordination as a combo and like the mistakes they made were fucking terrible. And then you got to look at our combo with Ritalin, Steve Neen, and you think it's the same thing except they're all better individually. But it's the same thing. Basically, they're not particularly competent coolers.
So what you're
That's
basically
pretty
saying
much
is...
that's my team because our flank is ridiculously good.
Well, he
with
basically,
Ferber and Zub.
what the difference was is that Hildreth said to Zub, "Hey Zub, start doing something." So Zub went from not doing anything on the X side to doing everything on Gollywash.
That's another thing. Like
just
the
didn't
only way that team can win without me against a decent team is if Zub and Ferber are carrying the flank.
Super February were always carrying the flank.
In the Lakeside ones, Zub wasn't. But the thing about that game, that on the Lakeside, I noticed a lot of the things that went wrong were like hesitation. They looked like they were nervous. Lack of a cooler. faNNy was playing pretty well, considering.
Yeah, Fenn's a good player.
He was doing quite decent. It just they seem to lack that leadership and like dying to a crit multiple times when you know it's coming. If that shit had happened when I was playing, I would have yelled so hard at Ritalin. He would have been crying afterwards. He would have been in tears. He would have never done the mistake again. He would have been scared to leave spawn.
Well, he's already scared to leave spawn, so I don't really see.
Damn.
That would change things.
Oh, shots fired.
Then again,
I
like,
die
when
to crits all the time. I don't give a fuck.
Well-
Just walk out in front of it.
to be fair though, when I've played with like Pandas before as medic, like on Jeep, I think it was, some situations it is like actually kind of down to the calls being late from other people where the crits is. Like, I know you can still list out for it and stuff like that, but if you don't know where anything is because people are like not calling anything for you, then
True, and what happens when that happens? I yell at them.
yeah, that's true. But you should yell at everyone other than Rit, I guess. Like, you can't necessarily say it was Rit's fault there. I wasn't watching the game properly, so I don't know. But
So it was after this game where I think the lack of Hildreth effect was really highlighted for me, and that was when I murked for It's All Good. But this was the scraping the barrel murking, where like you guys, like you must have asked everyone on your friends list pretty much, right? Because I can't imagine why anyone would want me to murk Spy for them in any shape or form.
It was fun.
Yeah, well, I enjoy it, but I mean, I've literally got maybe 50 hours of Spy.
Yeah,
And a
well,
lot
the way
of
we
the
were
idling
seeing,
or
the way we
checking
saw it
items.
was, the way we
Probably.
saw it was, is that like High Panda are just nothing special, so we could just play with the guy who can't play Spy. Like, literally got single digit score on Spy.
Yeah, one
And we thought, you know,
round
once-
I got 50% medic picks. That's because I
50%
got 2
medic
kills.
picks. Yeah.
2 kills.
2 kills, bro. We were just thinking, once we get rid of Rusky or replace him with Inso, the best Spy in the world, you know,
Then
of course we're gonna win. We're gonna crush
wait,
everybody.
that's like when people go jogging carrying weights, because it means when
exactly.
they jog
You
without
were the
carrying
big
the
weight.
weights.
You were just a big weight we were carrying around to make ourselves do better.
It's
Thanks,
almost
Rusky.
as if, Bulow, you've forgotten which team's top of the league. Do you want me to
Yeah.
remind you?
No, because that's still a surprise for people who
What?
only
whoa,
look at
whoa.
the table after
It-
they've listened to this week's
it's
episode
all
of
good.
Podcast.
Beat High Panda with me on Spy.
Actually, you didn't
Consider
beat
that
us.
second.
We
Hold
beat you
on.
one round, and you beat
First
us on one
round we won.
We won one round.
You know?
We won one round.
That
or two.
counts. That counts. I mean, you can say it doesn't count, but in your heart, you know that counts.
You know you lost to a team which had.
Oh
Rusky
well,
on
it doesn't
Spy.
matter, man. As long as
Having
we win
Rusky on
matches.
Spy is the
I got
worst
killed
in
by a
anything.
sentry gun. The sentry gun was like, there was no one near it. I just wasn't disguised. and I got shot.
That was hilarious.
That's what you got beaten by. Just saying.
Anyway.
Yeah.
I think we're done. So we're done with It's Okay versus Highlander. Basically, fuck Hildreth for missing Lakeside. Like that's what
We would have struggled on Lakeside anyway, but
yeah, I mean,
I
we
don't
would have
think-
struggled on Gullywash and we didn't. Yeah, whatever.
It
That's one
made
of the-
Prem a lot more exciting. It made it really close and tight at the end, and it was like, oh, what's going to happen? So yeah, it was good.
It
That's
also
true.
allowed for a certain team to finish in a better position than they should have, right?
it's possible. If you look
Maybe.
at,
We should wait for that though. We should wait for that.
yeah, what's the next game?
Talk about soon. Yeah, what was the
The next game was Hype Panda versus Ruskeydoo on.
Was it really? Is that how
Was
many
it?
games I played?
Yeah, you played 3 in like 4 days. So
Oh yeah, shit.
Yeah, it was impressive.
But that's yeah. So that game.
was a
Do you,
game?
want me to talk about it?
Yeah, you can. I mean,
Or
played-
I'm sure you all watched it,
yeah, of course.
but from playing it, it was quite. I mean, did an interview afterwards, and one of the Mister, the engineer for Daratuta, he said something like, "I felt like we stole the round off of them, the first round."
No,
But
I
just
think
think it was-
Flippy stole the round off of you guys. That first
Yeah.
round.
I just think we didn't defend very well
Yeah,
because
it's,
we got a really fast cap, then they capped it quicker.
It's worth highlighting that in the first half of the first round, Flippy had was it a 20 kill streak on Sniper?
Flippy and Issel were the only reasons why we didn't cap the point in like 3 minutes, because
Yep.
Ritalin got like backstabbed twice before we even got an Uber off, and we still captured the first 2 points.
I think Flippy had like a 25 kill streak.
And he was
across,
just
like 2 rounds.
shooting everybody on
Yeah.
the third point, which stopped us from stopped our momentum and losing our medic with Uber advantage even to a face stab. I mean, the first time we got backstabbed, that was kind of like meh, but the face stab. Then the next 2 rounds were we won them. I can't quite remember. I know it was difficult. But
It was
expect-
certainly a lot more even than you'd have kind of expected, given that Hype Panda like practice and
yeah, I
Ruskeydoo
said that,
don't.
like
Although at the same time, Ruskeydoo are obviously the reigning champions.
if there were 2 practice, they'd be top side, but they just don't. So they got punished for it.
Again, the motif of our last Classy cast. If you practice, you get good at stuff. It's true. It works.
That's well remembered.
Tis
I remember
happens.
that.
Is that like how Chesterfield got the Prem?
We do practice a lot, which is good because
When was it the last time you saw your family?
There are nights when my wife literally just drops a bowl of food in front of me while I'm screaming, and then I eat it as it goes cold when I'm dead.
I
There
had,
you go.
yeah, I had fish and chips from a carry out, no less, that went
Ooh.
cold because I was trying to I had to play fucking Hype Panda.
God,
So
it's
mad.
the punishment when you're trying to concentrate and this bowl of
Just
tastiness
nice
in front of you that you just want to stuff in
food,
your
you wanna
face.
I
eat your-
play worse when there's food next to me.
Yeah, no, I do. Like, noticeably. But, you know,
Yeah.
Jesus Christ.
Anyway,
this is
The-
getting maudlin again, isn't it? It's getting a
yeah, we all want
It's
food
okay,
now.
I'm
hungry.
sure our 9 viewers, of which half of them are us, don't
Yeah.
mind.
I'm not in there at the moment. Could
That's
still be
okay.
half, I
bit...
guess.
Let's bump it up by 1.
I'm going to advertise the stream to nobody.
UKCS.
You can-
UKCS pub you're playing on.
They won't understand anything. They'll be like,
You
"What
should
the
just say
fuck is a
Classic
hype
Cast, it
panda?"
won't even make any sense. So we're saying the best bit about that game, of course, was that afterwards the Frenchies came to do an interview as well, and they basically just doled out a whole load of smack talk. It was really good. They slagged off.
Oh, nice.
They slagged off Steve. They're like, "Oh, we heard so much about this Steve guy, and he didn't do anything."
But
Did
do
they-
you remember
did they
the
really say
game,
that?
the Suki doing work game? That's what they were talking about because he merked for them. And
He carried on upward somehow on power.
Oh yeah, that was insane. That game. Yeah, Steve completely carried the game. I think 4 med picks or something ridiculous, and he was on defense. He just kept roaming and getting behind their medic and killing him when he had Voluba. Just out of nowhere, it was ridiculous. It was just, it shouldn't have happened. For sure, it's so
It's
dumb.
the kind of thing that a team that practiced and were tight in their play would probably have eradicated quite easily. But that's strategy this season. Yeah, that was probably the best bit.
Yeah. Did any of the maps spend a good 10 minutes trying to attack cap last, perchance?
on Bamblets.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was very fast, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was one of the faster games. Like, certainly, but the last point was the longest one held. But yeah, I think on one. In fact, we barely held last at all because in the first round they capped last really quickly to win, and the second round they didn't break third. So
Fair enough.
that's what's happened.
Because yeah, we ended up due to I don't know if it was Bulow or Scissors, who's chess captain, who can't do numbers, but yeah.
Oh, I was serious. That was Sunday though. That was way there. Don't worry. We'll get to
Okay.
that. We can get to that.
Okay. All in good time.
Next video game.
The next video game was
Was it SSD's?
SNSD versus Highlander on Upward.
Oh god, yeah.
I missed this
Hildreth
one.
again.
That's because everyone wildcarded against him. If you remember, Bulow, they're like, this is the reason it's Hildreth again. Because he had like 3 games to play in like 2
This was
days.
a week ago Friday.
The people keep on wildcarding you, Hildreth. That's awful. What jerks.
What jerks?
Yeah, that game. Does somebody else want to talk about it?
Nah,
Yeah, it was. Bubble, do you want to say something?
nah, I'm alright. You can go then,
What?
I guess.
Yeah,
I missed it. I genuinely want to hear what happened in this match.
Okay, well, we played SSD on Upwards, and first of all, they were missing players. Like, we noticed that they didn't have Cadus on Demo, they had Permzilla on Demo Man. They hurried come back to Spy, so it's hard to. They were missing their big carry, Flash.
Flash, yes.
Yeah.
Which was unfortunate for him, but he actually was on Heavy, not Spy. So Flash was on Heavy, Permzilla
So
was
big
on
Zero
Demo Man.
was missing.
And you know, when you've got to think about it, considering how good Permzilla is as a Highlander Demo, that's not necessarily
A thing, for sure.
a
I'd agree.
downgrade.
Yeah,
Well,
I'd probably say that.
The only thing that is wrong with the lineup is that they hadn't practiced over the Christmas period. Whilst we had played a few practices, not very many on Upward, but we practiced a little bit. So when we actually came into the game, like a bit of nerves, but we didn't have a very good attacking time, 9 minutes attacking time, but then we defended ridiculously well, because SSD have this really fucking stupid tactics. When they're on first point, they literally just give you first point and try and defend second.
Really far back.
And when you break second, it's like, if you break it really, really quickly, and Tweak doesn't click on heads, then they lose a lot faster. But of course, we struggled a bit on the third, fourth points, because they were using quick fix, so it's just something we hadn't encountered. And when we defended like first point for 2 minutes, second point for like 3 minutes.
With
Then
quick fix,
third
were they
point
doing
for,
like a very?
3
Were
or
they
4
doing an
minutes.
aggressive defense, like as soon as they get Uber, just getting into you and trying to pick your mech?
Yeah, that's what they were just like using it to get kills. They were just trying to take Ubers out of the equation, and
Okay.
they got our medic a couple of times, but eventually.
Well, I mean, if you look at the logs, like between the 2 rounds, like in the first, like every single player on Highlander, like had better stats just all across the board, apart from Hildreth, who was completely out demoed by Permzilla. I think Permzilla doing so much work. Oh my god, it was beautiful to see.
Well, it's not about the damage. It's about the result.
Stats, man.
Unless I
okay.
hugely damaged, then
I mean,
It's the other way
Plus
around.
plus damage.
he did 30% more damage than you, Hildreth. How do you excuse that? Were you
Well, you
speaking for the
see,
first
when they're
30%
using
of the
quick
game?
fix, when they use quick fix, they run in and get kills. And because we never used the quick fix, basically I'm sitting there building Uber.
He
So
got
that way you had like 3 more deaths than him.
he only got 50 more heals than you across 22 minutes. Really, Hildreth? You're gonna have to try better than that.
It doesn't matter.
We're
We
a classy
won.
cast. We're gonna push you here. Anyway,
Doesn't matter, man. We won.
in the second round, yeah. I mean, watching it, the second round was much more even though like it felt more even though like Highlander performed a lot better, really.
Defensively,
Yeah.
we did pretty well. In that, like on the third point, we defended third really, really well, and they couldn't break it on the first round. And we managed to do 8 minutes 30 was, but we were always on the second round. But we were always confident our attack was going to be good. Now that we figured out what they were doing.
Yeah.
So we captured the point. And one of the things to really note about this game is how their comms went. The
Because
SSD
they were
comes.
streaming?
Yeah, I can't remember. Drozo was streaming. Like I thought I'd listen to the point because it's a secret habit of mine to listen to the opposition's comms against us. You know, it's still good ones being the most favourite.
Oh yeah, they're great.
faNNy
Is this-
stream.
Is this while during the match or just after?
No,
Not during the match. Jesus Christ.
the day after.
Just have it on another screen. Just look what's going on.
the
Have
day
it appear?
after. The day after. So
Okay.
I listened to the comms and like there was a lot of like raging finger pointing by Linus and
Was he doing
Drozo,
again?
as usual, Drozo was getting shit, but like, his reaction, it was from like Tweak and people like that. And his reaction is pretty funny because on the stream you could see him just dying inside. He
Oh yeah,
just
because he
couldn't
has
be
a face cam
bothered.
now, doesn't he?
Yeah, like his reaction when he was getting criticised was one of, I don't know, it's hard to say. His face was just expressionless. I don't think they had.
Did it have a face cam as well on the stream?
Yeah, it had a face cam.
Oh wow, that's brutal.
Delicious.
You can go watch it later, but I could tell that they were very
Exercised by what had just happened.
by losing because they were losing, and this is a team that's not used to losing.
Was this SNSD's
So-
last match?
No,
that's
it's not.
two
Okay.
more to go,
We'll get to that.
Yeah,
We'll get to
two
that.
more. They had two more to
Okay.
go on the fun day.
which we should talk about now because
Well, should we do? We're just
yeah, that win put us top of the league, and basically nobody could catch us up because Killswitch had played all their games,
Hmm.
and we came a point ahead.
Yeah, we should just deal with before we go on to the three-way shootout. We should do the Legolas versus Suki doing work game, which was kind of had the potential to be a relegation decider because Suki doing work had 6 points and Legolas had 1 after playing 10 or whatever. So if Legolas won, they'd have had 7, and Suki would have had 6, and would have had to have played stacked for the right to automatic position in Bren this season. But as it came down to it, Legolas got stumped pretty damn hard.
Yeah, they So this is a new microphone, and I didn't have a microphone for the past 2 weeks or so, and they got me to play their warm-up scrim for their official when I had no mic as engineer. So that shows you how much they kind of didn't care almost.
It's a very strange situation because like they cared enough. They got Inso to mark for them. Like Skeege came out and I added Inso to specifically ask him to play Spy because like Inso did really well against him. So like they did go out to get somebody good, but you kind of think they're kind of clutching at straws. Really, you kind of wonder where the interest was to actually even bother playing, like attempting, because Inso kind of said it was very quiet in their Mount Vault, like nobody had any idea what they were really doing and nobody really cared. So you kind of wonder why they bothered to even play at all. I mean, Sukadin were pushed in the first round in 3 minutes and 16 seconds. So like,
Ow.
yeah, it was a bit of a roll, really. Just saying. Yeah.
No, I didn't actually catch the game because there's like really better games going on at the same time.
Yeah, never did I do it, to be honest.
At the same time, there was SNSD versus Deratutu. There was that game, and then there was Stacked versus Chess Club.
Or Cheska versus
We
Splendid.
didn't play. Yeah.
Sorry,
versus
Chess
Splendid.
Club. Splendid.
Yeah. Yeah, so it was kind of a proverbial Super Sunday. The final day of the Highlander regular season, because we had that relegation match, and we had essentially the decider for Div 1 between Chess and Splendid, which Chess won 6-0.
Then playoffs. Yeah.
And then we had the situation. It was a 3-way kind of shootout for the final 2 places for playoffs in Prem between It's All Good, SNSD, and True-to-2. And I think we were like 4 points ahead of True-to-2 and 2 points ahead of SNSD at the start. So we were playing SNSD on Barnblitz right as at 8 o'clock, which is the first game. And this was after we'd had a really stressful scrim beforehand because Scissors had got confused. I'm absolving myself of all blame from this, by the way. I didn't do anything. I just told him.
Scissors swears blind that you got confused. I'm staying out of this one. I have no idea.
I know exactly what I said. Anyway, never mind. It might have been my fault, but for the purposes of Classic Gas, Scissors is completely at fault.
Exactly.
So basically, some confusion about scheduling of warm-up stuff, so we didn't really have. We only kind of started playing about like 7:20, and it was made worse by the fact that all the item servers, as you may recall, were completely fucked at the time.
Yes.
So we were playing with Kritzkrieg, permanent Kritzkrieg and mini sentries on both attack and defense.
It was,
which was interesting. But playing Kritzkrieg defense was kind of fun, but obviously, kind of when you use Kritzkrieg in payload, it's kind of supposed to be a surprise when you're using it the entire time.
It's awkward.
It's not a bit of a surprise, really.
So basically, you were Lantac for the evening.
Oh yeah,
Lantac always runs full crits.
Full Lantac. It was awesome. Apart from the massive stress of it, just being really annoying, which is really—it's not what you want. You're trying to prepare and
if you're just before you're official, you don't need that kind of shit.
Don't need that. Don't need that. I think we still like put up a decent showing. It wasn't the worst showing.
It wasn't a whitewash, that's for sure.
faNNy had 200 ping as well. So we were playing without a sniper.
Hey, whoa. Wait, K-Cot has more ping than that. faNNy shouldn't have
Yeah, but K-Cot's used to it. faNNy's not. faNNy's mollycoddled.
There's a difference.
Yeah, there's this thing and there's bad internet thing.
No.
Wait, are you guys talking about a PCW?
Yeah, don't worry, faNNy. Don't worry. It's okay.
yeah.
It wasn't your worst sniping performance of the season.
Although I should just say, right, that we do have a spreadsheet of like our scrims and stuff, and that is a big green 1 on that one. Just saying.
Oh.
Why do you mark 1 or lost on scrims?
I've got no idea. This is like even scissors having this kind of like
you needed to
the
get
stats
screens
and stuff. Maybe
No,
I don't know. I think it's for their own pleasure.
Yeah.
So they can tell their mums.
Yeah, well done.
Hey guys, we just beat High Panda.
It's like
scrim.
if we're playing a team, because it also has comments about who we're missing and like how it went and stuff. So it means we have this like record of like.
Try hard.
I know, isn't it? Just it's like this record of like how we've been matching up to other teams and shit, and what the circumstances were.
That's fair enough.
So,
fair play to Scissors or whoever maintains that.
No, I think it is a bit circle jerky, but that's okay. I'm happy to
Did you point out that you only won when we ran minis in defense and ran Kritzkrieg?
There's probably a small side note about that, but whatever. We'll take it.
Anyway, let's get down to the main point.
The actual officials, not the dumb scrims beforehand.
Yeah, so we were playing SNSD, which was ably casted by Hildreth.
Huh?
So you casted our game against SNSD, so you should.
Oh yeah, I did, didn't I?
Again.
I'm trying to remember what happened. Lazy Bear and Mookie had fucking huge games. That's one of the big things tonight for me. Like Permzilla and Linus were playing opposite numbers, but Lazy, like I said before the game, Mookie's gonna do.
Before we do this though, we should actually talk about how unlikely it was that SNSD wouldn't qualify for Prem.
They needed.
You mean playoffs?
Yeah, playoffs. Sorry. Yeah.
They needed like 3 points, didn't they?
Yeah, I mean, from the very start of the week, they probably needed like 4 or 5 points. I think. Oh, actually, let me just check here. Yeah, they probably only needed like 3 or 4 points.
They needed 3 when it came down to your game for sure.
Yeah. So they only needed 3 or 4 points again from like the final 3 games of the season against us, Drew and High Panda.
Yeah. So they got 6-0 by High Panda here.
But the first map for SNSD, or that first match didn't go well for them.
The Bomblets, they attacked pretty well, but like you guys just blew them away on their defense. As I was saying during the game, Mookie and Lazy Bear were having huge games. Joe also played ridiculously well. If you look at the stats, Joe was doing work. But Mookie was like really changing the game with his plays, like getting new medics. Yeah, Joe was demoing. He had a really good game. Like he was keeping SNSD back when he needed to. He obviously, as you can expect, Insu may have outperformed Harry. I'm not quite sure. Let me just get to the logs and find out. But yeah, Mookie and Lazy Bear were really performing. So good, and you're just so much more aggressive, more coordinated, looked more comfortable on the map. And they didn't have an answer for you guys, so you guys played well.
Yeah, we were pretty. I mean, we were.
It was against an SNS team. team without much practice. Again, I'd say practice was their main killer, but there's also a lot of other things that to take into.
Yeah, I mean, from my perspective, was that Mookie did an awful lot of work. Because I mean, he forced and he even dropped Hat at some. Like he was all over Hat.
Yeah,
they were
I watched
calling him
some
the
of the
Hat
demo
Destroyer. They were even calling when they killed him. Like Cadis was calling every time he killed the soldier because Mookie was just doing so much work at the time.
Yeah, I watched some of the demo of
Nice.
that actually because I didn't watch the game live. I watched some of the demo of that, and I saw Mookie getting some ridiculous kills on Hat. And bombing him on first, for example, stuff like that. Just like the way he was getting the kills there was so dumb because it was like I couldn't really blame SNSD just because it was those situations where you wouldn't expect him to like thread that final rocket.
Yeah.
Honestly, when we played the warm-up against the on Barn Blitz, we played we had one round of a random team because half of our team wasn't there for the first round. So we had I'm trying to remember who we had.
Rinta on medic.
Rinta was the medic. We had Winko from TC on Scout. He's not bad. No, he was on Heavy, not Scout.
Yeah, he was on heavy. Well, Winko's decent.
And we had Gisakala on Scout. So it's off class in a bit. And during the game, after they capped second point and after about 4 minutes or so, Rinta had to go answer her door to get her dinner. So we had no medic for third and fourth point, and then they capped it pretty quickly. So our medic was basically just standing still. And then so they capped it in like 5 minutes or 4 minutes or something. We attacked. And we got to their last point, nearly capped it. And then we swapped around some players with a Furbo and Union came online. Had pretty much our strongest team, with the exception of, well, we didn't have Ritalin or medic. Gisakala's a good medic. And then we beat them. So I was always expecting Itsulgood to win. Because practicing against Itsulgood is much stronger. And Mookie was doing loads. Hey, you guys can change your name to Mookie doing work. I just realised that.
That's disgusting. Don't do that.
Just want to point out in the second round, I didn't die at all. That's
Wow,
good for a medic.
that's
Think
the end of
about
it.
that. Think about that.
A better way of putting it is you
proof
died
that
less than
Highlanders
Hat did.
Hat died. No, there's a brilliant part. So I obviously went back and watched I watched Tweak stream to see what was said, and Linus sounded really confused. He said, "I don't understand. Usually Hat dies way less than the other medic, but in this one, their medic didn't die at all." And he sounded really genuinely confused.
It's not as if this medic's good either.
But wait,
Yeah, exactly.
but wait, does he know your
there's
reputation,
the
Bulow?
best bit. No, wait. The best bit was Linus said, "Oh, make sure you keep checking for crits because this is a tricky medic." What me? Ran over the whole time.
Oh, you're just
That's
taking mind games to the next level.
I was exactly. I didn't. Oh yeah. Just as a brief point before our game against Highlander, I was putting the mind games on. I was turning the screw on all of Highlander. I was saying things like, "I'm going to shit on your grave" to Problem. I just said to Steve, "I'm going to get inside your head," and left it at that. Didn't say any more. Here, boy.
See, that's what's wrong with these fucking... They're like a bunch of kids, my team. They're like, they need daddy to fucking come in
I put
and...
the fear of God in him. I said to Fear Boy, "I'm going to run Ubersaw because I'm that confident about shitting all over you." And you know what? I didn't even run Ubersaw when I came down to the game.
What did you run into the viewers?
The games.
What I run Amputator. I don't know
Oh my
why.
god, that's
I would say it's pretty good nowadays.
No,
I
you need
think-
to hold it out. It's really bad now. It
Well,
got
it's-
nerfed.
I don't know. It's okay for it's okay for the situations where you're like fucked,
Running-
which is the times you
running
pull it out
away.
anyway. Yeah, where you're running away, pretty much. Then again, if you're running crossbow, which I assume you are, then
Yeah.
then that's better anyway. But yeah, anyway.
Anyway. So basically, things didn't go too well for SNSD. We were happy. We had qualified. We were jubilant.
And for once,
Hmm?
Bulow wasn't notorious for the wrong reasons.
Yeah, I dropped less than that. Think about that. Think about the gap. Think about the day, like 2 years ago. He said, one day Bulow's gonna be in Prem, and he's gonna drop fewer Ubers than that. Just think back. Think back what you were
Who
doing
would've
2 years
thought that?
ago. Nobody would have
Who'd
thought
have
that. Nobody would have thought that.
That's pretty much on my doomsday calendar.
Yeah. Well,
What, is that like one of the signs of the end of days?
Pretty much.
Fair.
And then I think the next game was quite an important game.
Yeah, the final regular season game was SNSD versus Daruto 2, which ironically was like a week 1 game. It just took them 12 weeks to actually get around to playing it. And also was, of course, a repeat of the final last season's.
And this time it was to try to scrape a place in the playoffs, which is
well, it goes to show how much Prem has changed this season. That the teams that were battling it out for first last time were battling it out for 4th place.
One of the funny things about it was before they played or something, I think it was T-Mac. I can't remember if you told me this, Bubble. Oh, no, Noonan told me this. T-Mac messaged Tweak, and you could see it on the stream quite clearly. T-Mac said something like, I can't believe we both have to play for a place in the playoff. We're losing to these like Div 5 low Div shitters.
Yeah, he was mad.
That's beautiful.
I think he meant 66, by the way, kids.
Yeah.
Because a lot of the players that are so good, Kill Switch, High Panda, apart from our Sixers players, are all playing like Div 4, Div 5.
Yeah. It's awesome.
It's, I mean, so this is kind of jumping ahead a little bit, but like, it is kind of the rise of the serious Highlander teams. And I know there was like some forum drama about people being like, proper Highlander teams. That's not it. It's just like teams that are really training in Highlander are the ones
seriously.
which, actually doing it properly, are the ones which are coming out on top. And I like that. It's a win for Highlander, essentially.
I hate people who turn it into a Sixers versus Highlander thing, because I play both formats. Like, pretty much everyone, most people play both formats, even in, like, it's so good you guys play Sixes in, like, Div 7 or something. Terrible.
Yeah. 1 Div 7. Easy mode.
But they turn it into a format versus format thing, which is kind of annoying, because it's not about that, it's just the fact
it's just
that
a practice thing, especially
people are practicing. I mean, in North America, MTS... like, a lot of their players kind of stacked. There's a lot of, like, stacked level 6s players, like Platinum and Squid was on their team. Enigma was Pyro for a while, and Pablo. And I can't remember, they Panic on Soldier, North American players, but they actually practiced. That was the difference. They still didn't win.
To be fair, I think, like, this season, like, SNSD actually practiced a fair bit. I mean, they were scrimming, right? But
They did to begin with. The problem for them was that, again, they also had 3 matches to fit in the last week when there were people
they
clearly not there.
also played a lot of their games with with different people in the scrims. Like, they'd have lots and lots of mercs on their scrims.
They had a lot of the Christmas period. They didn't really practice. They had like a 2 or 3 week hiatus. That kind of really cost them in their matches, because I think they could have done better if they'd practiced. But it's still kind of a sign of a team. Should we talk about what happened?
yeah, let's get this match out of the way, and then we can talk about the whole thing and stuff.
I mean, it's kind of a spoiler because faNNy's already got the match page open on the stream, but
I don't think anyone from our 10 viewers doesn't know what happened.
It's okay. But as I say, the Daruto 2 won in 2 rounds, and it was a really brutal game. Not because both sides were doing something particularly good, it was just really, really bad, really. Like, Hildreth has had a lot of choice words to say about Exxon's style of demoing, but
it was effective.
He was incredibly effective in this game. I think Exxon killed Hat with his caber about 4 times.
That's the thing. When SNSD lost the final last season, I don't know if any of you remember this, but then there was a bit in upwards where they got K3 down, they had full Uber advantage, and there was like 2 minutes to push last with full Uber, and then Exxon just walked from the flank and killed and dropped the sucker. Oh no, the sucker didn't have Uber, but they had Uber advantage and just killed him from doing like a flank devo play. And
but there was a brilliant part where SNSD had like completely taken apart the first point like really quickly, and Exxon was for some reason hiding in that little kind of rock area where the sniper is usually standing beside the big health pack and big ammo pack.
Yeah,
and he was just crouched there for ages, and we were watching it on the STV. And someone just said, like, this is so retarded. I thought, like, why are you doing this? This is such a stupid waste. And he was just waiting there, waiting to bomb the medic. and Hat came around. They were pushing cliff. He came down. They dropped down, and like out of nowhere, Exo just sails right through. Like the perfect timing. I don't know how he knew when to exactly jump,
That's
but
the
he did.
thing. That stuff would never have worked against us. Kill switch, you guys maybe depends really if you're paying attention. Really.
Nah.
But you never
yeah,
pay
exactly.
attention. But it wouldn't
exactly.
have worked. But it worked in that game because it kind of shows.
Yeah, and
Just-
there are other times. I mean, like just so many SNSD attacks broke down whenever Exxon would just like jump somewhere stupid, wait like 10 or 15 seconds, and nobody would do anything, and then he'd just jump in and caber somebody. I mean, at one point they even Ubered him on offense.
Wow.
He just walked in and cabered someone while Ubered.
Wait, they Ubered
Oh.
Exxon instead of Tech. I guess he kind of proved his worth in that game. For once. I mean,
But yeah, I mean SSD attacked first in the first round, and they got the first 3 points down in like 2 minutes or so. But they still then spent about 10 minutes pushing and failing to push last.
Yeah, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, Drew 2 had Ombrak playing medic for them. They normally have K3 playing medic for them, but Ombrak was playing, and I mean Ombrak died like probably about half a dozen times on last, if not more. Like Linus and Cadis kept killing him.
Oh,
But even though they kept on having like huge Uber advantage, they were never quite able to actually
Yeah, to be
get
honest,
in.
dying half a dozen times in last is a good thing, or like a good sign. Not a good thing, but like it's a good sign because that means that you held last long enough for you to die 6 times.
Yeah,
So,
that was a good point.
True.
I remember talking to Zoob during the game, and Zoob said this is Finland versus France all over again. I don't know if any of you remember that, but Finland played France on Badwater in the Nations Cup semi-final, and Zoob killed their medic like 10 times or something, and they failed every push. And that's kind of what it was like. SNSD sounded ridiculously nervous on their stream. That's one of the things I noticed before the game. They sounded really nervous. And there's also something about Cadis being disappointed that they couldn't get to play my team or something.
Oh yeah,
Which is a bit weird.
he said he just wanted to be Hildreth in Highlander or something like that.
I think there's still some grudge or something.
It must be. Well, maybe next season.
Well, there is a tournament coming up, which we might as well plug to the 5 people here afterwards.
Okay.
He still has his chance, you know. But we'll see. We'll see. But
But
that's what
basically, as I said, it was a very brutal game that drew to 2-1. But the thing, it just felt like it did feel like 2 old teams that didn't quite know what they were doing anymore, like compared to what you would expect the meta to be.
Just before this match, we were warming up Daratuti, and like we hadn't scrimmed against Daratuti before this, and I was fully expecting us to get our asses handed to us, but we kind of won convincingly on Badwater. It was like, yeah, odd.
it's
Like-
just
Like we're
practice
talking
your-
like we almost managed to they managed to cap first point with like 10 seconds left on the clock, and then I think they got second but couldn't take third, which is like it's bizarre. Like I didn't think that was going to happen, obviously, because it's Daratutu, you know. But hey, I'll take it. Green on the spreadsheet, just saying.
Jesus.
pretty good because not even we've beaten Daratutu in a PCW. I mean, we've never played them in a PCW, but
Pretty much.
we
yeah.
played Team France, which is close to the same lineup.
Them, right?
But yeah, I think it's really telling that they're not like practicing hard. Again, we're going back to this whole, you know, if you practice, you get good at stuff. But yeah, it's like, okay, so I mean, this is getting a bit generic again, but like, what it feels like with, say, Cadis in particular is like it feels like he's still doing the same old tricks that worked ages ago, but these days teams are like, now we know you're going to do that, and the meta's moved on. We know how to counter that, you know.
Well, I said this, but like for the past 2 years, this is the anecdote I'd use. For the past 2 years, Cadis has always done the same suicide round on Badwater with Linus, where they. I mean, I'm not going to say what it is. I'll let like Bulow say what it is because I'm sure Bulow probably knows as well. The way that Cadis and Linus jump in on Badwater.
Yeah,
And
well,
that's
what? Cadis will
Just explain
do,
it. So
he will do the Cadis jump. He will jump all the way back across first point towards the small ammunition pack by the blue resupply, the respawn they get once they cap third.
Yep.
Mhm.
Except in this particular game, because everybody knows that that's exactly what Gatus was going to do, the Daruja 2 scout, Plapla, I think it was, he just stood there. He was just back on the railings, and like Gatus just came sailing in, and like he would have just seen the scout just like waiting for him, waiting to shoot him.
Scout's just like, sup, how's it going?
Scout obviously killed him. The best bit was we were all back watching that. We were watching the Gatus jump because this is so funny because the scout got Gatus. But whilst this was happening, Tweak just walked up the hillside and sniped Ombrak, who was stood still underneath, like underneath the little ramp.
I remember that
Wait, did
game.
he just walk up the right and shoot him?
Yeah.
Oh god. Okay.
Because-
I remember that because Daratutu, the server actually restarted because Daratutu were defended like the first couple of suicide waves and Uber for like a minute and a half on first. Then the server crashed or something like that.
Yeah, that's yeah.
Then SNSD like got that medic drop and then like capped first in like under a minute.
But the best bit, I think the reason why, well, not the sole reason, but part of the reason was because they didn't have Wrangler anymore, so they couldn't deny that hillside, and they obviously had no scout. The scout was back killing Gatus, so they had nobody to like contest that area.
They had like
It's kind of the
soldier.
Solly's job to give snipers grief over there, though, right?
Well, I think the soldier must have been walking tunnel then.
Fair enough.
Yeah,
Or-
makes sense since Scout's gone.
But
This-
this was kind of the problem, because obviously if you have Wrangler, you can kind of deny the sniper a bit, or at least enough to make it difficult. Or at
Well,
least,
my point was anyway though, like, the reason I got you to say what the suicide gun was because obviously Rusky had shown that he knew what I was talking about by saying yeah, and I wanted to prove to like
everybody knows it.
everybody,
But
all of our
wasn't-
viewers. I wanted to prove to them.
Isn't it like when SNSD were playing like one of the good American teams? Like, didn't their like
That was
demo
great.
just put stickies there and just
Yeah.
get them and kill Cadus?
Yeah.
He put stickers exactly where Cadus would land and just deaded them. Like he wasn't even looking over there. He just
Give
like
you in the show match. Yeah.
yeah.
But yeah, this is the thing. It's like Cadus isn't trying to evolve his own play as regards like Highlander. He's not trying to innovate. It's like he's got his thing, and it's not working anymore, and he's not adapting. And
Mhm.
I think he's clearly incredibly talented, and if he actually put in the time to like work out what was going on in Highlander these days, then I think he could, easily do it. But it's like he doesn't like give it that extra thought.
Yeah, well, he cares. I assume. Like I know he obviously tries to win during games and stuff, and he cares, I guess. But I like obviously I guess he doesn't put as much thought into it as he does 66, which is fair enough. But
But I guess, I mean, this is the thing though. I like this idea that like, if you want to do well at Highlander now, you need to practice Highlander a lot. You need to study Highlander a lot. And you need to be good at Highlander. And I think that is Highlander coming into its own as a format,
Mhm.
Yeah, agree. There's a lot of like practice goes into like every map we do. A lot of thought. And
Well,
everything.
I would say that having played this season, like the last like 4 months, basically since the last Warplay season, I've seen more kind of shifts. When I say shifts, but more kind of greater variation in the way people have played those same old maps. There's been a lot more different holds on attack defense maps than I had in maybe the first or the last previous 18 months of playing Highlander. Like to me, it seems like the meta has evolved a lot more, or at least a lot more. There's a lot more variation in tactics that can work. It isn't just people just doing what they think is the single best way of doing anything.
That's funny because how long did you play the last 4 or 5 months? And
Hmm?
how long have I been playing seriously in Europe?
obviously. But the thing is,
Connection.
it could be. Well, the point is more because it hasn't just been Highlander who have been doing things, but I would say Highlander are probably the team that have changed things the most, out of the teams we have played anyway. But like Killswitch have changed things quite a lot as well. Like they have their own style, and you can kind of tell that they have specific tactics for certain maps, and they play things in a certain way, which wasn't maybe as apparent before last summer. But this is the point: is that the more good teams there are that are thinking about it and practicing harder, then the more other teams have to think and practice themselves if they want to compete.
That's one of the things about kill switches. When we play kill switch, it can feel like a personal battle because the teams are quite evenly matched. It can feel like a personal battle between me and Emilio in terms of like main calling.
Two main calling down men, yeah, exactly.
I think the trick to whether you win or lose against kill switch is, so Emilio plays so far forwards, and if you kill him lots, then he was overextending and you punish him for it. But if he kills you lots, then he was just being very aggressive, and clearly that's how you should play Highlander, right?
Yeah.
So it's that knife edge, that's what, defines whether kill switch will win or lose.
We didn't really actually wrap up what we were talking about on that game anyway. We kind of did. We didn't really say outright.
Can we go off topic again? Wow.
Yeah,
Yeah.
well,
No,
okay,
never,
basically
never.
drew 2-1.
We've
Drew
never done that
2-1,
before.
6-0. In the end, it was not convincing in any way, shape, or form, but they won 2-0 and whatever. And it meant that Drew 2 ultimately came fourth, and it meant that SNSD, probably the greatest team of all time, probably the greatest team there will ever be in terms of the amount of success they have.
Most
Ended up
successful
finishing-
team. But yeah.
Ended up finishing fifth, closer to Suki doing work than they were to the playoff places. Just let that settle in for a second.
I think it was you who said they only legitimately gained 2 points this season from matches. Other than the game against Suki doing work, they only gained 2 points against was it kill switch in that really cheesy.
Yeah, the point is against the teams above them, they only picked up 2 points, which was against Killswitch, but they got that 1 minute round on Steel.
Yeah. Other than that, they got a
Against
default
Faith
win
Free.
against Legolas, and they did beat Suki doing work quite easily. But
Yeah, but the point I was going to make is that obviously Killswitch took a round off High Panda. Killswitch beat us. Killswitch won 1 map against Drew 2, whereas Drew 2 they beat Killswitch on a map, and Drew 2 ended up lower than us, but they beat us on Steel, and we took a map off of High Panda. The top 4 all got results against each other, whereas SNSD just didn't really get any points at all against the teams above them. And ultimately, they ended up with 14 points, and Drew 2 was 21. So there's a clear kind of split halfway in the table.
Yep.
Because at the end of the day, we got fucking shit on by Killswitch in G-Rate. But if we'd won 1 round, then we'd have been both level on points because they'd have had 2 points less and we'd have 2 points more. That's how close it was. Even though they completely comprehensively outclassed us on the day, we only ended up a few points behind them.
And not to remember your record versus Hildreth.
Yeah, play versus Hildreth, 0 wins. Shame. Out of 2. We're going to set that right in the final. Don't worry.
See how that game against Terra 2 goes?
Yeah.
I think they're trying to warm them up, maybe.
moving on though. Well, it was just turning into a circle joke. Fuck it, let's move on.
Well,
Moving-
look
this whole
at
thing's a
it.
circle
Now
jerk
that
anyway, but-
High Panda, Kill Switch, and It's All Good are the top 3, Highlander is just a circle jerk now.
Pretty
Because
much.
these are the people I hang out with and play lots of scrims against, and do mixes on the IRC and on the sheet and shit. It's just it's an old boys club. It's just terrible. We've
It
become
really is.
clique.
It really
Shame
is.
on us.
That's because none of the other
Despicable.
people practice.
In fairness, every single team in Brem has been around for at least 2 years, apart from Highlander.
That's an interesting look at it.
Because
Has Star
Parakeepers,
2 been around for 2 years?
they've been around since the start.
They've been
Been around a
around.
while.
They
Oh yeah,
worked
of
their
course
way
they
up.
have. Yeah, of course.
Man, that's another way to think about it. High Panda have a 100% ETF2L record.
What
They've
do you?
played 1 season and they've won it.
Not
Oh,
yet.
yeah.
Not yet.
Not
Not
yet.
yet.
Not
Oh
yet.
no, that's the playoffs, of course.
Playoffs!
Well,
We should move
Yeah,
on to
let me-
playoffs in a sec, but we haven't talked about the drama of SNSD yet.
Oh yeah. Okay,
The
we
what?
want to talk about that.
Oh, the SNC team
Yep.
roster transactions. Go ahead, Bubble. Take it.
Transactions.
I call it transactions. You.
So yeah, in the past week there were 3 leaves. There was Hat leaving, there was Vic leaving, and there was Hurry leaving.
Who the third one? Sorry.
Hurry.
Alright, yeah.
So here's
they've
the third
lost,
one. Boom.
Like,
Oh, carry on.
they've lost some of their oldest and best players. I did say some of their.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
Tweak, when we played against Tweak, we were focusing him to the point where I was ignoring their combo and shooting him with stickies. because that's how much of a carry he is for SNSD. So losing Tweak is pretty big, and Hat as well, and Hurry for the Deadringer plays.
But wait, this isn't the end of SNSD, is it? Or is it?
No.
Okay,
Yeah,
so
there
what's
was a
going
post
on?
on. Linus made a post saying that they were going to make a fresh roster for next season. But yeah,
That's interesting.
I don't know how fresh it's going to be. Like maybe they'll just replace the people that left, or maybe they'll make a big effort.
This is kind of interesting though, because you got to think about it. The players that they've been replacing, like ALX, has gone, and Tasaka's gone, and Tasaka moved around, and Cube is gone. So they've moved around players from like Pyro
every slot practically now as well.
But the players that they've brought in to replace these players, because in like season 2 they replaced
Cyber.
They replaced Cyber, and they also brought in Beefs. That's the Highlander player. That's the way they were going. But like lately, I think since season 4, they basically just been bringing in 6v6 players that they know. Like it's like faNNy on Engineer and Zebasai on Heavy.
And even Buttnose on Pyro.
Buttnose on Pyro. faNNy is coming in, like backing up every class. Best Buy Europe, and their team is basically 6v6 players. So when they change their roster now, are they gonna?
Yeah, are they going to go for Highlander talent, or
are they gonna
gonna...
like look in the low divs and like try and find some players like tryhards, like a tryhard Pyro, put Buttnose on Scout or something?
Well, first off, let's talk about what we think. Oh, actually, no. Let's talk about why each of the players left before we move on to what we think will actually happen to the roster.
Go on.
So, this is what I've heard anyway. Apparently, Hurry basically left because I heard that he PM'd Linus, I think, like saying like he didn't think he was good enough nowadays, which is it's fair enough. If he thinks that, then it's good for him to decide that rather than to drag it out and make them play with a weakened player.
Well, I mean, obviously, Hurry's performances have been under scrutiny by many spy mains who like to slag off Hurry all the time. But and if,
there was that thing about like Hurry playing in the England team for the Nations Cup, and it's like he's
not Suki.
Yeah, I mean he's not the best spy that England has.
To be fair,
it was
Suki isn't the best spy either, but
no,
in England,
he's not the best spy ever.
Big
but
Granger, Big Granger.
Oh, yeah, Gringer's
Granger.
Good show.
Good show. But yeah, so basically he's like decided he's taken it upon himself to say he doesn't think he's good enough anymore, so whatever.
Well, fair play to him if he genuinely thinks that and he thinks he's going to help out by not doing. But I wouldn't have that grace and humility. I'd carry on playing and just reach everybody.
You'd sink down to the ground, wouldn't you? Medic.
Yeah, I don't give a fuck. My team can carry me. I don't care. Doesn't know.
Yeah. Okay. Well, anyway, yeah. Good on him for deciding that anyway himself, rather than
being cut or whatever. Yeah.
Exactly. So then there was Tvik, who I'm assuming has just left TF2. That's what I've been told. He's probably going to be playing Dota and World of Warcraft or whatever else.
Yeah, he'll be back in 2 weeks.
We'll see. I'm not sure.
He has put all his teams on ETF2L, but I think a lot of people have said he'll be back.
Tweaker's done this 2 or 3 times in his TF2 career.
Well, you've also got to look at Hat, who's done the same thing. What I was wondering as well, though, was when I saw this...
Just one thing about Tvik quitting, though, right? He hasn't put a big forum post, and he's not been like, "Oh, goodbye, guys. It's been a good time, but I have to move on in my life and stuff." He's just gone, just doing something else.
Everyone that does that,
props to him.
Everyone that does that is back 3 weeks later. Like I remember Slim did something like that.
And Kendall.
Your favorite person, Kendall did that before.
Kendall did that. He made a forum.
He also did that, I think. He did I'm not sure if he made a forum post, but he did make a big deal out of it.
And then he had hashtag back in his name.
Like 2 weeks later, if that. That's good.
Oh, I've decided something. I tried DM social life bit, but it didn't work out for me. DM
That's overrated.
What's the social life?
Exactly.
Is that what was going through his mind? I've got to quit TF2 and become a
lady killer.
2 weeks later, didn't work out for me. Back to TF2.
Back to what you know. Fair play.
Maybe you just saw the Croatian women and that was enough for him.
Oh dear.
Anyway, moving on.
Yeah, so what? Hat just left because bored of TF2. whatever.
Yeah, he's like backing up for Didester, I think, in 6v6. But other than that, he's like kind of just given up on everything. Like
Not
in
really
terms of
about
commits.
92. Okay.
Yeah, exactly.
Well,
I'm not sure why they left the SNSD roster there, because there wasn't really a need to. Like, they could have just gone inactive, same as
Alex is still on there, right?
Yeah,
I mean,
Zuckerers,
kept
Cubers, everyone is
there.
except for those two.
kept their prem medals rolling in.
Yeah, exactly.
Because obviously the point is that whilst they came fifth this season, and they're still in prem, and they'll still be able to make amends if they are able to get together a team that's like good.
I think they'll be very motivated to do it.
I hope so. I'd like to see
Well,
them
the
having
big
this
issue-
as like something that kicks them,
The big issue is whether like the players they have lost or potentially have lost are kind of, you would say, power players.
That's
some of their
fair.
power players.
To be honest, I think they could probably salvage this quite well. Like, if they were to put Linus on Medic, and for him to actually practice Medic, because he's a decent Medic from what I've seen. He's played Medic in a few scrims before.
Yeah.
And then they were to
he's-
put Permzilla on Soldier, then that should be really good, I think.
Or
Yeah,
shit,
but
put
what
Fen
my
on
point-
Soldier. Fen's an amazing Highland soldier.
Yeah, but then they'd have to get another Angie. And then
Yeah,
where
that's
Perm
true.
It's
go?
engineer. They'll
Yeah,
just go
but-
on the forums and just look for one. Like those is like
Some,
half decent NGs.
Alex _ JJ. He's got recruitment post up, that you get him.
But what I was just going to say is you
BubbleBobbler,
would've, like,
SSC, next
yeah,
NG.
BubbleBobbler could be there.
I'm good,
You can
thank
go
you.
He's
ahead.
just backup for Highlander. But what I was just going to say is, like, you'd say that maybe the player, the positions that they had problems with were like Zebasai on heavy, and maybe to a lesser extent Botnose on Pyro and things like that. Like, but they're the players who've stayed.
Oh yeah,
So-
to be honest, I suppose like they could just change classes and do decent. Like,
Yeah.
Botnose could be on Scout and he'd do really well.
Well, Botnose always plays in the
But-
Fog channel, and he always plays Sniper
Drosso
and Spy, and he
yeah.
does really well.
Oh, Drosso can do Sniper really well as well, so...
Botnose is really good at scout. Like, we obviously know he's a Sixer scout, but like he'd merked for us against BPM when we played the Americans. He was destroying people.
Yeah.
On scout.
This
the
is
Americans.
the thing is, there are obviously the players who have said have maybe not done as well as the predecessor. Doesn't mean that they're bad, but like they just don't necessarily know the class in the same way that they,
What I'm
the
saying
people
is,
they were
though,
facing did.
What I'm saying is, I think a way they could salvage this is to just move their utility classes onto like Sixes classes, let's say, because Botnose can play any of the Sixes classes that have been freed up by this change. I think I'm classing Sniper as a Sixes class.
Yeah.
And then they could easily just move like Permzilla on Soldier, as I said, or whatever.
Zebasai or Perm on Soldier, Linus on Medic.
Mhm.
Because Linus is also their cooler, you got to remember, but
Mhm.
because he seems to be like their cooler, because their combo doesn't seem
Yeah,
to have
he is,
much
for sure.
beyond micromanaging Uber fights and stuff. He's like trying to call them, let's go push up now and do this and that, and he's telling them when to back out and stuff like that. So putting him in Medic might be a good thing. Then they can have
As I said, like, this is
Permzilla
all,
on like heavy. I think Perm on heavy would work, and then Zebasai
Maybe.
on Soldier.
yeah, this is all like,
Perm
very,
was playing
very.
heavy with them, and it went well from what I remember seeing. Like,
The
he
thing-
did well. It's just whether anybody would want to play heavy. Like that, I think that's the biggest issue.
He's amazing. You don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
The thing about Permzilla is people might not know this if you're newer to the scene, but the guy was like playing Demoman and Highlander
From
before.
the very start.
Yeah. Make
Yeah,
and
this
take
is
that
all-
and all of that.
This is all very, very early speculation. Like, I wasn't actually gonna like make a big discussion about what.
But it's
they're gonna
obviously
do, because it's
interesting
very-
because SNSD are obviously kind of like one of they're part of like the iconic team and
Yeah.
of European Highlander, and it's just obviously very strange to see that they end the season not even in the playoffs.
But yeah, like as I was saying, like my point wasn't necessarily that I
This
think.
is just all idle speculation. This is
Yeah,
all
the-
classic idle
No,
speculation.
my point wasn't even like my point wasn't even idle speculation, because it's very, very early even for that. What I was saying is they don't necessarily have to make a big change and get a bunch of Highlander players, get a bunch of like Highlander talent in, because they've still got good talent on their subs, which they could easily just use.
They
And it's
definitely need
another
to bring in the
season of
proper spy.
experience. Yeah.
Bring in the proper
Yeah.
spy. Tutorial's looking for a team, is he?
Tutorial. Only for Warplay. Only for Warplay.
But yeah, what else do we actually have to speak about this episode?
Playoffs.
Oh yeah, playoffs. We haven't done
Playoffs.
predictions or anything for that yet.
So basically, in first place, Highlander only have to play in the grand final, and Killswitch comes second, so they have to play the winner of the third and fourth place playoff, which is Good versus True to Two, which is taking place on Sunday. So we're pretty confident we can beat True to Two, especially over 3 maps, and any maps are played in the same format they were during the regular season, which means potentially you're potentially playing three matches in a row if a game goes to three different maps and 3 rounds in each one. Could you imagine that?
Have you worked out how long you could feasibly be playing for?
Hours. Probably
Well,
you could conceivably be playing for like 3 hours, or like the UGC final.
God, that UGC final. Ugh.
Which must have been at least 3 hours.
Are you talking about the Killswitch one? Or are you talking about the
no, you're
one?
our
one.
one.
Our one was 5 hours. Our one was 5 hours.
5 hours. TF2.
Yeah, because
why did we fucking
hours.
pick Swiftwater? Seriously,
No,
why would we do that to ourselves?
Swiftwater was well. This is all like bullshit that nobody cares about because this was like 2 years ago. But yeah, like bullshit. Like Swiftwater was okay. It was just that we like.
It was sort of a DDoS.
It's because you guys are Criticast, that's why.
Yep.
Yeah,
Put it
much.
bluntly.
But basically, yeah, we're playing Route 2. First map will be Badwater. We get to pick one map. It's not elimination, so all maps are open. We pick Badwater.
Is it only maps that have been in the league?
In the
or can
season?
you-
Yeah.
Okay,
in the
yeah,
season.
Do you get to pick the decider?
Well, the way it works is a losers pick system. So we pick the first maps with the higher seed, and
Oh, sure. And then if you were to lose the first
then
map,
if
then
whoever loses that map, then gets to pick the next map.
Mhm.
And if one team has only won, or if neither team has won 2 rounds, then the loser of that map gets to pick the final one.
So what maps are you thinking? Because I guarantee no one from Daratutu gives a fuck about ClassyCast. They're not listening,
Yeah,
it's fine.
I mean, it's not difficult if you check the logs, because we've only played 2 different maps this week.
Oh.
We played Badwater and probably Lakeside are the maps that we're going to take
Seems
on
fair.
through to do. Yeah. Then let's say we're confident.
Since you got a resounding victory against High Panda without Hildreth.
Yeah. It's best map.
They'll probably pick Gullywash.
They'll probably pick Gullywash, given that we got resoundingly shit on Gullywash and they beat Killswitch on it. But, we're confident.
That makes sense.
Because, well, the way we see it, everybody saw that we got shit on Gullywash. So everyone will want to pick Gullywash against us. So,
If you guys can deal with Flippy on Badwater, then I think over
3
3
rounds,
maps,
that's the
you
thing,
will
I
win
think we can beat
over
them on
3
3
maps.
rounds. We're the
If
better
you-
team, but whatever.
If you can deal with Flippy on Badwater over 3 maps, you will win. Badwater and Lakeside. What about your demo man having a good game? Because their demo man will probably not have a good game.
Ouch.
Well, the way we
Wait.
see it is we playing into our own hands. So, well, we want to play maps and practice maps that we're good on. We don't really care so much about what they're going to do. I mean, they won Badwater, but I'm still confident that we can beat them in Badwater.
We've got like your sniper here, faNNy. How do you feel about going head to head with Vic? Not
Flippy.
Vic, Flippy, the other one.
I don't really play others.
Damn. Okay. I
K-Cop.
wouldn't say that.
Fucking K-Cop.
I mean,
I think-
I mean, like Flippy is like insanely accurate, but
Doesn't make you rage as much as
he doesn't-
K-Cup.
No, he doesn't.
It's all good
he doesn't
comms.
play. He doesn't play
Mhm.
very, very focused, keeping the other sniper down and pressure on the opposition sniper. But Flippy, he stays back, like he goes for like kills everything. So, like if you want to eliminate him, it's very difficult. Pick him off.
Okay.
Fair.
Yeah, so then after that, the winner of that game will have to play Killswitch,
That's correct.
which out of both of the teams, I'm not sure either of them will beat Killswitch. I mean, both of them could. It depends on how Killswitch are on the day, and it depends on how it's are good or
Killswitch first pick, you gotta remember that. Killswitch struggle on 5 CP in lately, but but you gotta remember if Killswitch are playing Daratutu on 5 CP, you've gotta think maybe it'll be a free map event, because you might think Daratutu will beat them. But if they play It's So Good on 5 CP, their weakest format,
It's good blind leading the blind. It's
it
gonna
could
be
be a 2-0 thing. I'd have to say I fancy Killswitch to get to the final.
awful. Well,
That's my
obviously,
prediction.
Killswitch have shown across the season that they've performed the second best, so you would have to bank on them doing it. I mean, they won UGC as well.
Not even preparing for any other team right now.
Are you even preparing at all?
To be honest, if you're a man, then
Scrim, yeah. We will have some.
If you remember, though, you'll prove to everyone that 5CP isn't your weakest format and that you can beat any team on any map, and you'll pick a 5CP map. You pick process.
But what
Process
I would say,
we should also stress just at this point that what Hildreth means by preparing for is actually getting good night's sleep. Carry on.
yeah, good night's sleep.
When we play, if we play against Killswitch in a final, we'll go to bed the evening before.
Wow.
Like Hildreth is going to be on them. He's going to be like, he'll see them on Steam. And he'll be like, "You naughty boy, go to bed right now." Be on their phone to all their parents saying, "You got to set parental controls on young Steve's computer. Make sure he goes to bed." That's what's going to happen.
Steve is never ever going to miss a game. Do you think he has anything else going for him?
No,
Steve
of course
is a
not.
massive keener.
Steve,
I like
keenest
it.
player in TF2. Yeah.
Yeah, we didn't really speak about the other inevitability as well. This is kind of like a closing note almost for the show, because we've kind of spoke about everything now, and it's like 1 AM for faNNy, so...
Yeah.
But yeah, we didn't speak about Legolas versus Stacked, which has
Oh
happened.
god, yeah, stack 6-0.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
There we
I
go, we
mean,
spoke about that now.
Stacked is
Yeah.
pretty much the only other team that we were like seriously considering as contenders for Div 1. Because they're good.
It's pretty much like if you lost stacked, you were pretty much, if you played against Legolas, you're pretty much guaranteed a prem spot anyway.
Yeah.
I don't take anything for granted, but yeah, we reckon we can do it. But
Like as I said, like in the scrims before Legolas's official, before that,
I mean,
they
the
were
biggest
losing
question is
to Splendid.
whether they'll even bother playing. Like, that's the biggest thing. Whether
That's true. But yeah,
Yeah,
like
that's
in
bother.
the matches before, like the official, they were losing against like Splendid, which like finished 5th in the season
Div
in the
1,
end, in Div
yeah.
1. So
Yeah.
I think any
There
teams
is-
in the top 5 could beat them.
there is one really good admin call that was made this season that we should highlight, and that was Spirits in a Shell saying they should go Prem, and then really kicking off when they weren't given Prem. And they got 16 points and finished third.
Oh. Well,
So,
they had a lot of roster
Good
issues.
admin call. Good admin call.
Whatever.
And one of those
Whammy.
bad like teams that will not like stick it out. That's one of the things. I mean, the choice between getting into Prem, you got to remember, it was between us. It's so good, and them, and it was between.
Switch.
Yeah, it was basically between first, second, and third. Because you got to remember, Paragape is guaranteed Prem spot, Legolas guaranteed Prem spot, Suki, SNSD, Daratutu all guaranteed Prem spots. So it was the top 3, and then.
And then the
So-
2 that got it finished in the playoffs. So
Well, 3 that got it finished in the playoffs. Yeah.
oh yeah, 3 indeed.
Yeah, I think have we covered everything?
Yeah, I think that's
probably
everything
is.
this week.
Yeah,
So we're
that's
gonna-
pretty good.
One more thing I have to mention about, like, you guys know about the TA Cup.
Yes.
Tell
us
everyone who's
more.
listening about the TA Cup.
On Saturday, January the 26th.
Oh, it's
I think.
Saturday.
No, Sunday,
thought-
January 26th,
okay.
sorry. The Team Awesome and their main I think their main admin, Rob, he's organising like a big Highlander Cup. It's going to have prize money. It's going to be something like €300, €500, I can't remember exactly.
Where are they getting the funding for this?
I don't know, maybe they're just awesome.
Team Awesome are
A
awesome.
team of
We used to play
awesome.
Team Awesome all the time. Like, we used to play them literally for like a year. They were like the first team we properly scrimmed against. Like every week or so. It
Yeah,
was awesome.
it's pretty cool because what he wants to do is he wants to have like give the opportunity for anybody to enter. It doesn't matter the skill level, but of course he's gonna invite the best teams as well to make sure they play. So there's going to be like 8 seeded teams or something like that, and 16 unseeded teams, and then the seeded teams will get a bye for the first round. So he's hoping it will be quite big, and obviously we're interested because it's good practice for us.
Yeah,
We're
chess.
interested to play that weekend, and
We're
Killswitch are
interested in this
interested. Are you guys interested?
We want to win it.
Yeah.
That's what we want to do.
Probably.
It'll be interesting to see if S and SD sign up, because do you remember earlier we were talking about their motivation, Cadence' motivation for playing, beating one of my team, and now
Well,
he's got
like-
the opportunity.
Give him a call. Like, invite him to the tournament. Personally, Hildreth.
Throw down
Yeah,
the gauntlet,
yeah.
Hildreth. Say that you want him to be there. Challenge him.
I want all the good teams to be there. I
Well,
wonder if
this is-
Legolas will get invited.
Like, yeah. Oh, they're a top 8 team. Think about it.
They came
At worst, they
seventh.
would be. Yeah, top 8. At
In
worst,
Prem.
you can conceivably say they're 9th.
They're probably going to lose a playoff to Stack, who came second in Div 1. They're going to be 9th.
Yeah.
I'd invite the top 6 of Prem and the top 2 of Div 1. Although I don't think all of the Prem teams will play out. But we'll see. It'll be a good
Druid
event.
2 probably won't rest this team. Oh, actually, the thing is, Druid 2 apparently want to change some players around as well. So maybe they will be keen to use their new lineup. I don't know. We'll see.
All I can say is it'll be a good event, and I'm looking forward to it. But yeah,
They just have to think, what could they do with 33.3 recurring euros?
Whoa.
And what you mean by that is you sat there and worked out how much money you'd be making if you won.
well, for a free, it's going to be like a 4-hour tournament. It's not bad, you know.
For doing something that you would be doing anyway, which is playing video games, it's like free money essentially, isn't it? If you win.
If you win, you'll be playing like 3 hours worth of TF2.
But let's face it, you enjoy playing TF2, so you're getting paid to do something you enjoy if you win. And if you lose, well, you're pretty mad. I'm just going to leave. Whatever.
Shall we wrap it up?
Yeah.
Because I have so many things I can rant about in Highlander. UGC, no one cares. So
This
let's
isn't
get
stuff.
let's wrap it up.
Oh yeah, Ruskeydoo was just saying that XTV are casting Team Awesome thing, which is pretty cool.
Yes.
Yeah. So should we just get Rusky to do his usual?
Whatever it is I do. I could. Well, we're nearing the end of the ETF2L Highlander season, although we're not quite there yet. There've been victories, there've been losses, there has been exultation, and there has been tears, and there's been late buses and narcolepsy. Just saying. But I think one thing that everyone can agree on is it's been kind of awesome fun. One thing that I'm constantly reminded at the end of seasons is I'm like, oh, I could do with a bit of a break for like 2 days, and then I want to get back scrimming because I've still got this massive hard-on for Highlander. It just excites me so much. And yeah, I hope that through things like ClassyCast, we can, help other people of that same hard-on to get together and, share their hard-on. This analogy's going wrong. I think we should go now.
Cut.
Cut. Let's go. We're done.